Now let's say we need to create another pivot chart over here or a pivot table, and we'll do some more workings on that. So let me quickly prepare another pivot table. I can click anywhere on this or just click on Insert menu, Pivot Table. Excel mostly by default tries to pick up the closest table near my cursor. And if it is correct, I don't need to worry. But in case if it is incorrect, I can just change this. I click on New Worksheet again and click OK. Now this time I don't need to apply any filters. I need the first column to be years. Now that's the row labels. Further, apart from row labels, I need subheading as well for each row, and that would be the region. So I'll also add region under this. So you see, it's a sublist within the main heading. These are subheadings. Column headings will remain the same as lamp category, and sales this time will take the total sales. That's the sum. Now without going anywhere else, we'll use our keyboard shortcuts and just make them appear with the comma separated values. Or rather just commas. So we say Control Shift exclamation or Control Shift 1. That's on the left part of the keyboard. And then remove the decimals. Perfect. We have the numbers here in hand. Now this is quite a comprehensive one. Well, it could be even bigger as well with more and more data that we get. But for now, this looks good. Well, in case if you're not happy with the layout of how this has shaped up, you still have a chance. Maybe if you find any of your colleague working on a pivot table and by default their pivot table appears different than what you have, do not worry. You can just change it here. We have a design menu specially for this pivot table. Click on design. So under report layout, we have 3 primary table layouts. Over here in this version that we see is show in compact form. Well, in case if you do not like this and if you want the year to appear in a separate column and the regions in a separate column, you might want to select show in outline form. That's it. You have it in a separate column here. Now 2016, we have the totals over here, and the breakup of these totals are from these respective regions. Similarly for 2017 that we have here, that's perfect. Now let's say you want these subtotals. You do not want these subtotals. So we have do not show subtotals. I uncheck that, the subtotals vanish. But we do have the grand totals here, and that's absolutely fine. Let's try this further. Let's say show all subtotals at top of group. They come back where they were at the top of that group. Now what if I select show all subtotals at bottom of group? Well, you see, the subtotals come below this, and the year heading remains where it is. So whichever way you like, you can arrange this. Now, if you do not want subtotals, you might just want to select this do not show subtotals. Now, let's say about grand totals, you also have some more options. Off for rows and columns. The moment you click this, the grand total on the right hand side that you have and at the bottom, they vanish. Well, in case you do not want both of them to disappear, but you just want one. Let's say you only want for rows only. When you say on for rows only, it's all these regions respective totals will appear on the right side. So that means the totals for respective rows. Where do we have this? Here. And we get this. Now let's say you don't want these totals region wise, but you just want the total sales for the 3 product categories. So we have on for columns only. Now this column disappeared and we have it at the bottom, grand total. Perfect. Whichever way you want to, you can adjust this. Let me click on this menu again, or let me click on this table again and click on design. I say grand totals. I want on for rows and columns. So I'll click on this. So we have them back up over here. Further, under report layout, we also have some options. Down over here, this is the second section within the report layout. First was the initial layout, the 3 primary layouts, and then we have whether do you want to repeat all item labels. If you select this, you see this 2017, it's just appearing once as a heading. But if I select this, 2017 will appear repeatedly next to it. Here we have this. Now what good is this? Well, it does not look presentable. So, well, you may want to select do not repeat item labels. This is the default choice by Excel. So we have this here. Now there is another approach or arrangement of data which maybe you might want to use it for further analysis at times. Then in that case, you might want to select repeat all items, and you do not want these headings to be visible here. So we have show in tabular form. So there is no separate heading column, a heading row for each of these years. They have just clubbed into it. Now let's say you also do not need the subtotals. So I go to subtotals and say do not show subtotals. We have this data. Now this data is ready for analysis. I might just copy this, or if not the grand totals, at least so much. Copy this and I can paste it anywhere. And well, it is no longer a pivot table, although it looks like one because of the color that has been inherited from the pivot table. But there is nothing else different over here as compared to any other random table. At least it's not a pivot table here, and maybe you might want this for any further data analysis. So now we have discussed about different layouts over here. I click on the pivot table again. Design, we have seen how to show the subtotals and how to hide the subtotals. Then we also have discussed about the grand totals, the report layouts. Well, in case if you want to add blank rows, so insert blank line after each item, we select that and we have a blank row after each main row heading. That's the year. And this looks much more better. If you like to print it this way, excellent. Now, just in case if you don't like the color and you want to change the layout, on the right side we have many colorful options over here for under pivot table styles. Select any of these and you will have good view on this. Well, just in case if you do not like any of these preset themes over here, then we also have new pivot table style. This is as good as creating a new table style like what we had done earlier. So here we have the whole table. You can set the borders, first row stripe, and then you have header row. Maybe this time you also want to have first column stripe, or maybe the first column separately, format them. That's absolutely normal, and you can apply that for as per your convenience. So we have this, the theme that you want to select.